Hey guys, Deathletter Magic here. We got a ton of spoilers today, although based on how they look, I didn't really check the sources because I don't care. Some of these might once again be leaks, and I guess they kind of blended in because of timing, but I don't know if you guys noticed, but I think we've had more leaks for this one set than we had for like the last 8 combined. I mean, book summary leaks, image leaks, story detail leaks, card photo leaks, promo leaks. Oh my god, it's been like 7 or 8 from just this one product. Something like that. So anyway, here's a god-awful picture of Arboreal Grazer. Is it a spoiler? I don't know. You can't even tell anymore because somebody took this photo with their cell phone. Unfortunately, with how most people handle the spoilers they're given, an absolutely ass-quality cell phone shot isn't really indicative of anything about whether it was a legitimate spoiler or a leak. But anyway, this is a beast. It's a 0/3 for 1. It has reach, and when it enters the battlefield, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. So now we have 3 artificial land dumpers. I think people will actually play this. And by the way, if you didn't hate Vivian Reed enough, here's the flavor text. We fight to stop a tyrant, but we also fight for the gentle creatures who have no concept of what befalls their world. Get a life, you PETA subscribing hipster bitch. Go hug a freaking tree and talk about how you don't need no man to lead your elf clan or whatever the hell that bullshit story that I didn't read was about. Guys, can we get this trending? Hashtag think of the tree monkeys. So the next endangered forest creature is Avon Eternal. It's a 2/2 flyer for 3, and when it enters the battlefield, you amass 1, so nobody's going to play it. Next, Callous Dismissal. It's a 2-cost sorcery in blue. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand and amass 1. Boy, not being instant speed, that's rough. But like, if you really are playing a mass and you really want to bounce something back to hand, I guess, it's just, you don't get a lot of mileage out of bouncing stuff back to hand these days. There's a lot of enter the battlefield effects and very little equipment and auras. Next up, Charity Extractor. That is such an Orzhov name. It's a 1/5 lifelinker for 4 mana, but it is a human knight though, and you can do some weird crap with that. I mean, this is a damn good creature to sit out there and block, but it probably should have cost 3. I feel like 4 is a little high. But it would be pretty darn good in draft and at the pre-release. Next up, oh, we got a pretty kitty. It's Charmed Stray. It's a 1/1 for 1 with lifelink, so I already love it. And when it enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on each other creature you control, named Charmed Stray. I am going to clone more cats than the entire country of South Korea. You're just going to see an army of genetic mutant cats. It's basically going to be a cat version of the X-Men. Anyway, next up, we've got a card that shows just how disastrously irresponsible and clueless the R&D and playtesting department really is. Command the Dreadhorde. It costs 6, it's a sorcery, it's rare. Choose any number of target creatures and or planeswalker cards in graveyards. Both of them. All of them. Any of them. Command the Dreadhorde deals damage to you equal to the total converted mana cost of those cards. Put them onto the battlefield under your control. So obviously, 40 life, Commander, yeah, people are going to run this in Commander. Obviously, especially multiplayer. Are you kidding me? Holy crap. Okay, first of all, these cards aren't in the Gatherer yet, but I thought I remembered one of the Planeswalker's abilities being spells gain lifelink. The Dominaria Buy a Box promo does it, but it's only for red spells. So yeah, if you grant the spell lifelink, you will take 0 damage. Like, you'll take the damage and then immediately gain it back. And you can't lose as a state-based action in between and simultaneous, despite what Arena shows. Or, just play the Wanderer. You can't take non-combat damage. So I mean, it's a 6-cost sorcery. It can get countered. You'd have to have the Wanderer in play. You know, you'd have to have them both in your hand at some point to get them onto the battlefield. And, like, it's a hell of a combo to line up. It's just, wow, is that broken? So by itself, this is like, oh, big gamble, big risk spell. But then there's ways to make it degenerate as shit. So, boy, I don't know what I think about this one. By the way, this is the artwork where she's wearing the chain veil, and it's referenced in the flavor text too. Next up, oh, it's another pretty kitty. It's Dreadmalkin. Or is it Dreadmalkin, or is it Dreadmalkin? I'm going to say they just spelled Dreadmaw Kitty incorrectly. So Mr. Cute Little Armored Cat right here, he's a 1/1 for 1 with Menace, which is kind of cool. And then you pay 3, sacrifice another creature or planeswalker, put 2 1/1 counters on Dreadmaw Kitty. That's a good turn 1, and it's a good later effect. And it's a sack outlet. I mean, this thing has some utility. This is really good. Next up, another ass-quality cell phone pick of a Duskmantle Operative. It's a 2/2 for 2. Human Rogue. It can't be blocked by creatures with power 4 or greater. Finally, I'm sick of that no chump blocking crap where they do the opposite. Where it's like, oh, this thing's huge, but it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. So sick of that Steel Leaf Champion crap. That is so broken. It's a little too narrow, no lifelink, no death touch, no menace. It's a vanilla that might not be able to be blocked by giant things. Although I do like it that it's semi-unblockable. You guys know I love semi-hexproof, semi-trample, semi-anything. If you take a really, really hyper-powerful thing and just like cut it in half, it tends to be a really, really fair card. So this is partially unblockable under some circumstances. It's just like instead of hexproof, you just gotta pay one more extra mana to target the creature. And that, oh, I deal damage when I become blocked, but not as much. Semi-trample. I mean, they need to keep doing that. So I do like that. I just don't think this card is powerful enough to be good. But good on them for trying. By the way, the flavor text is awesome. Gideon eyed the demure emissary warily. Could your agents slip inside Bolus's citadel? The figure met his gaze with icy resolve. We already have. And then if you flip the card over, it continues on the back. Can you hack Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook account? To which he replied, we're already in. What about Area 51? Already got it. Original footage of the moon landing? Yeah, we got it. Okay, anyway, we've got an even more washed out, even more trash looking photo of Elite Guard Mage. I can vaguely tell that that's an Azorius card. It's a 2/3 flyer for 4, and when it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life and draw a card. I've never liked the really, really expensive and they're complete garbage, but draw a card on top of it creatures. Nobody ever tends to play them. But in the right deck where you got to keep the draw going, I could see somebody playing this. And it is 2 in the air. I don't know. Maybe a sideboard card. Who knows? Next up, Finale of Devastation. We've already seen this and leaked, I think, at least twice in 2 different languages. Fantastic. So it's a mythic sorcery. It's part of the Finale cycle or whatever you call it. It's not a cycle. I always forget what the word is. You know what? I've heard so many people incorrectly calling it a cycle, even though it's never been printed before in a past set. Let's just keep calling it a cycle. What the hell? So you search your library and or graveyard for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less and put it onto the battlefield. So it's free casting except not because you have to pay 2 higher than its actual CMC. This is going to be completely broken in other formats because you don't have to pay any additional casting costs. So you could have like something that costs 0 or 1, but then has some enormous, ridiculous additional costs. But this doesn't say cast, it just says put it straight onto the battlefield. And it's library or graveyard. So no deck immediately comes to mind, but I'm sure there's something out there. There has to be. It would probably be like a morph creature or something. I don't know, who cares? So if X is 10 or more, which is probably the most realistic in this color, creatures you control get +X and gain haste until end of turn. Yeah, that's fair, thanks. Gee, I wonder why there's a Carnage Tyrant looking creature on the artwork. So if you can get to 12 mana, you just play this and win the game. Great. Stupid overpowered garbage. And why not? The White Finale of Glory, which I believe has also been leaked twice. 3rd time's a charm, so create X/2/2 White Soldier creature tokens with Vigilance if X is 10 or more. Also, by the way, not instead, also create X/4/4 White Angel creature tokens with Flying and Vigilance. So get to 12, win the game. Cool, thanks. Well, we haven't had a Secure the Waste effect in a while, so that's nice. I just wish they wouldn't have added that ridiculous get to 12 and bring out 10 plus angels and soldiers. I mean, somebody could still settle the wreckage or wipe the board or I don't know, something. But that really is quite ridiculous. Next, Gideon Blackblade, which I think this has already been spoiled, but in really crappy blurry form, so why not? So it's a 3 cost for 4. As long as it's your turn, he is automatically a 4/4 soldier without even using an effect, which is ridiculous because on top of that, he can use an ability, not an effect, an ability. But yeah, he's indestructible, still a planeswalker, prevent all damage, blah, blah, blah. You know Gideon, you know what he does. +1 up to 1 other target creature you control gains your choice of Vigilance, Lifelink, or Indestructible. That is absolutely batshit crazy, but welcome to War of the Spark. And then -6 exile target non-land permanent, which you can't do right away, so it's kind of an alt. So he's a 4/4 indestructible creature for 3 mana that can't take damage, and then on top of it, he gets those abilities, which cost 0 mana. If this wasn't a Planeswalker, people would be losing their shit, but spoiler alert, there's no difference at all. Well, okay, he can be attacked directly, off turn, lose loyalty, and die that way, unlike if he was a creature. Who cares? So another freaking obnoxious Gideon that we all get to deal with in Standard. Awesome. I totally missed him. I totally don't hope he drops dead in the story. Oh, spoiler alert, he does. Gideon Sacrifice. Choose a creature or planeswalker you control. For 1 as an instant, by the way. All damage that would be dealt This turn to you, and permanents you control is dealt to the chosen permanent instead, if it's still on the battlefield. Now that's interesting because I don't remember how that ruling worked on other cards similar to this, but maybe not that way. Now for 1 mana and instant speed, obviously it's creature or planeswalker you control. You can't redirect all damage to their permanent. That would be hilarious, but really a 1-cost instant. So effects like this are really good. I think we had some stuff like this about 3 years ago in the game, and yeah, it was really popular and really funny. This is probably the second best combat trick in the game right now in Standard, right after Settle the Wreckage. So to Liliana's surprise, the cost of betraying Bolas did not fall on her, and then yeah, Gideon just gets absolutely blown straight to hell. Which chronologically doesn't make sense because he still has to wait for the Elder God spell to work correctly, to like go off and then jump at him with the Black Blade. We've already seen him do that on another card. So does he just get burned real bad? I mean, he like has a whole thing about taking damage, but this is like magical damage and like law magic, very powerful. The real question is, how does a non-blue user of magic and somebody who knows nothing about law magic know how to transfer the like pact to him, I guess? And then, well, the pact got dissolved. Wouldn't she just age instantly regardless without the pact active? There is a lot going on in this card and none of it matches up. It does open the door to chronologically him not dying, but I mean, hopefully he does. So next up we got Guild Globe. It's a 2-cost artifact. Pop it into the battlefield and draw a card, which is pretty nice. And then pay 2, sacrifice, and add 2 mana of different colors. 1 and done ramp, and it's so weak and nobody would play it, so they added a draw card effect to make it a cantrip. So this will be pretty popular the way it's written. I'm so sick of persistent, reliable, hard to remove ramp, because once they're at that level of mana, they can cast anything, and there's some really powerful shit 5 and up in the game. But this, you get 1 shot at it. That's it. So the flavor text is, hopefully Ravnica will prove harder to break, from Karn. Which begs the question, what the actual hell is going on this card? Does he put all of Ravnica in a globe? Is it like a time travel thing? Do they duplicate the plane? Does he just hide 1 guild inside of a globe? Does a guild hide themselves within a globe as an emergency measure? What does Karn mean about Ravnica, the entire plane, being harder to break? Harder to break than what? I mean, he goes around breaking a lot of stuff, but so does Teferi and Urza. Seriously, what the actual hell is going on with this card? It doesn't even have story spotlight on the bottom. This is just, I don't get it. And next up, es tiempo para español con desleer otra vez. Y si hablo español de veras, or whatever the phrase is. I'm not just mimicking a traducador. Esto es Spanglish real, I assure you. Y esto es Redención Conmovedero. Movedora de Explora. No me gustan palabras largas. So that means heartfelt redemption. Now, if you're thinking, he doesn't have any friends on Ravnica or know anybody. He's from Theros. Interesting. The flavor text here, which is Gideon, which is, I believe, his original name before he became a planeswalker, and changed his name to the rapper formerly known as G-Dog. So it says, Gideon knew war every day of his life. Now finally he knew peace. So in other words, he's dead and that's the underworld. I mean, they keep like hinting at it with like Gideon's sacrifice and now this card. I mean, they might as well just print one that's called Gideon's Dead. It costs 0, it's instant speed, and it just says Gideon dies. Or wait, it should be a conditional statement. If Gideon exists in the storyline, Gideon dies. Instant speed, by the way. My issue with the artwork is I don't think any of those people are the members of the, what did he call his gang? The Irregulars or something like that? Or the Expendables? Yeah, none of them look like them. I could be wrong. So apparently if you die on Ravnica, do you still go to the Theros underworld? I guess the answer is yes, but nobody knows if you die in Canada, do you die in real life? Okay, I'm having way too much fun with this. So discard all the cards in your hand, then draw the same quantity of cards +1. And then gain a quantity of life equal to the count of cards in your hand. So in more traditional language, discard all the cards in your hand, draw the same amount +1, and then gain life equal to the number of cards currently in your hand. Well, that's like Wheel of Fortune on steroids, and this is instant speed, which is interesting. And it's cut off, but it costs 4. So like, yeah, I mean, if you really need this effect to go off, 4 is appropriate, but Wheel of Fortune costs 3, I'm just saying. Well, Gideon, felicidades por lograr la paz, and I hope you stay dead. I swear, if I see you crawling out of that damn underworld back on Theros, I will drop a damn nuke on it. You and Elspeth both. Stay your dead ass down there. And next up, we've got Narced, partner of the token autistic characters. Which she is, by the way. Oh, gee, wizards, the diversity bus finally cycled around my direction. I feel so represented and not pandered to. I'm honestly surprised she's not blinded in a wheelchair. But as we know, Wizards doesn't give a shit if you're disabled, they only care if you're gay or not. So what does Narced do? Well, she's a double blue, triple cost, 5 loyalty planeswalker. Each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn. Hallelujah! Can I get an amen in the chat? Probably not, there is no chat, this isn't a live stream. You know what, shout it out for no reason and piss off everybody on the bus / at work / at the McDonald's you're at. And then tell them to subscribe to PewDiePie. So her -2 is look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them and put it in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Non-creature, non-land, you mean a control spell or a draw spell. Yeah, that's what blue needs more of right now. They're just desperately in need of more draw. More kill spells, more fuel for storm decks. Izzet Drakes just absolutely needs more spells. Why couldn't it say each player can't draw more than 1 card each turn so that nobody would play this? So I hate everything about this. It's the exact same thing as the Elder Spell. It's like, oh, finally something to shut down Planeswalkers. Let's see, who will realistically play it? Oh, Esper Super Friends. Well, crap, I guess it won't shut down shit then. Oh, this will shut down, Teferi draw, Esper draw, Izzet Drake draw. But who would really run this? Oh yeah, those decks. Because it lets you go get more control while shutting down mirror matches. It's like they tried to make a great equalizer for these obnoxious decks that have been played in the last 6 months and just fell straight on their face. But if you think it couldn't get worse, we've still got Narced's Reversal. Yay, it's a 2-cost double blue instant rare. This'll be good. Copy target instant or sorcery spell, then return it to its owner's hand. You may choose new targets for the copy. So immediately, because of the way this is worded, what's the one thing on your mind? Assuming you didn't study to be a judge. So does the first copy still resolve or not? You're returning it to hand, but you can't return a spell from the stack to hand. They're referring to the card, but the wording is referring to the spell. It kind of looks like the first copy doesn't resolve, don't you think? Because you've returned it to hand. It's no longer on the stack. Nope, it does. So you cast some ungodly, unholy, overpowered shit, and then you can clone it with absolutely no limit to its mana cost, unlike expansion. And then you not only get 2 copies of the spell, but you get the card back. And you can copy Narced's Reversal. This is an infinite loop waiting to happen with Rails. I can probably state 4 different ways you can pull off an infinite loop with this. Now, defensively, this card is complete AIDS because you don't counter shit. Whatever spell they're casting, it still goes off. So Vraska's Contempt. Okay, I respond with Narced's Reversal. Copy target instant or sorcery spell. Okay, you may choose new targets for the copy. Yeah, I would hope so. You exile one of their creatures and gain 2 life. Cool. But then you return it to its owner's hand. So you get to cast it once, and they get to cast it twice. Wonderful. So this has the defensive use of a potato, and the offensive use of some broken band bait shit. So just one of the worst design cards I've seen in this set yet, and that is a really high bar. And then the flavor text is, in the disarray of battle, an enemy's attack may be your most convenient weapon. Bitch, did you get lost? Do you think you're on the card Redirect, which is actually a good defensive spell? With like the duality of the pronoun confusion and double reference to the word it on the card, I'm going to say, yeah, she is a little confused. You get to cast it once, they get it back, and they're going to cast it twice. No, that's not convenient at all. That's stupid. Here, let me rewrite the flavor text for you. Ha, Rel just tricked me into doing some stupid loop thing with some degenerate lightning spell, and now we accidentally blew up the entire plane because it caused an infinite loop. I'm an idiot. That would be more fitting. Because that's what people are going to use this for, obviously. I mean, you mix this with expansion with Rel's duplicator and the amount of damage, even if you don't go infinite with it, you would still deal immense damage just by spell cloning. I mean, creature cloning, object cloning, planeswalker cloning, and spell cloning, all of them are massive problems as of War of the Spark. I don't know what kind of weird fetish somebody at Wizards of the Coast has with cloning shit, but they need to get over it and they need to get fired. So this card is completely fucked. It's probably going to cost $1 million, and I'm not going to play Standard. So next up, Price of Betrayal. Ooh, I wonder what happens. Oh, poor Liliana. They already spoiled it, okay? You should have put it earlier in alphabetical order then. So it's 1-cost black sorcery. Remove up to 5 counters from target artifact, creature, planeswalker, or opponent. And that's it. So it'll slow down Infect or probably take out a planeswalker. That's an odd combination. Hey, guess why it doesn't say land? Because Merit Lage told them not to. Here, let me give you an example of my number one problem with War of the Spark so far. So, pretty fair spell. It's situational, but it's cheap. You might be able to take out a planeswalker with it. You might not. You might be able to do something interesting and creative with an artifact. But yeah, I mean, you could pay 1 and maybe take down an entire planeswalker. A planeswalker kill spell for 1. What a wonderfully fair and interesting card in the meta. Oh shit, you can clone this like 8 times and then cast it back from your graveyard. See, that's what happens when you take a perfectly reasonable spell and then clone it. Thanks, Ral. Thanks, Is It, you dicks. So next up, Prizmite, which appears to be a cell phone shot of somebody who printed this out on a transparency and put it on an overhead projector. 2-1 for 2, you pay 2 and add 1 mana of any color. The most overpriced filter I've seen lately. Holy shit, why is this a thing? It must have something to do with Ugin and the fact that like I think with some effects right now could bring this out for 0, I think? I don't remember. Maybe you just need artifact count. I mean, there is 1 artifact card that's affinity for artifacts. But generally, this thing just sucks. Next up, Prison Realm, which is where they trap Nuka-Bola. Spoiler alert. I wonder what's worse, getting trapped in a prison realm for all eternity or having somebody take this ass quality of a picture of you and then post it on the internet. I'm going to say the picture. This is driver's license photo levels of bad. I mean, the exposure, the color balance, it's all wrong. The glare in the center, what the hell? Oh my god, whose spoiler was this? I'm actually going to check. I actually give enough of a shit to look it up. Hold on. Oh, the source is some dick on Reddit leaked it. It wasn't even a spoiler. Oh my god, well that explains it, guys. This set has more leaks than a damn colander, and it's the finale of the storyline, and this should have been the last fucking card that was ever leaked. I mean, spoiled. What the hell is the difference at this point? So anyway, it's another white exiler because we just needed more of those. And honestly, a card that's faster than Ixalan's Binding, but that drops the name jamming, I think people will actually replace it. I know that's a bold statement to make, but I think they will. So anyway, it's an enchantment. It costs 3. When it enters battlefield, exile target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. So it's a little bit narrower too, by the way. Until Prison Realm leaves the battlefield. When Prison Realm enters battlefield, scry 1. So nice little added tack on there. So, I mean, if it's going to help you get closer to another control spell, like that'll defend this from getting blown up or another exiler, I would say you would just barely get more value out of it than Ixalan's Binding, assuming that the targeting goes through, because Ixalan's Binding can take out, like, an enchantment, which this can't. Either way, like, a Duck and Cover Angels deck would absolutely run this, 100%. So, after millennia to craft victory, Bolas had eternity to contemplate defeat. Spotlight Act 3, which, let's talk about that for a second. Well, the article that says, check back on Daily MTG, here's how we're going to spoil them, it'll be in different acts and scenes and whatever, that article is still up, but the actual article that had the scenes and the cards associated with them, the story cards that were marked on the bottom, has been deleted. And I asked people, do you remember seeing more than 3 scenes? Because clearly this is from the end of the storyline, and it's number 3. I remember seeing 6. And other people said, yes, I absolutely remember seeing 6 on that webpage. And they specifically remember it because Wizards of the Coast use Roman numerals for it, and they use the incorrect one for 4. And you might be wondering, who's that stupid? I don't know, the page has been deleted, I can't check. But the cards appear to only go up to 3. Okay, so let's just follow what the card says, mtgstory.com. It says right on the bottom right. And let's see, let's go here real quick. And on this page, there is absolutely no reference to War of the Spark whatsoever. Alrighty then, glad we're all on the same page. So moving on, we've got another ass quality image of Return to Nature. This is a 2-cost instant. Choose 1, destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or exile target card from a graveyard. I think this is a reprint, but all the cards that do stuff like this start to kind of run together in my head, so who knows. Whatever, typical green sideboard card, whoop-de-doo. Next up, Sarkon's Catharsis. Also, Sarkon was spoiled, but he was also spoiled on Reddit in that other image like a week ago, so yeah. I think we could up the leak count to like 15. It's unreal. I think people are like legitimately like, let's screw over wizards and stab them in the back and not let them do this reveal in order and ruin the storyline and do it all out of order solely and exclusively because they paywalled the entire ending of the story behind a book that you have to buy, which is bullshit. I mean, what else would explain individual recurring exactly timed leaks of very important and story crucial cards? I think people are pissed, and people that used to be partners of Wizards of the Coast are like, yeah, I'm just going to get out my cell phone and take a picture. Fuck you, Wizards. You want to sell a book? Sell these nuts. Boom. Snap. Instagram. Let's go. Throw that shit up on Reddit. Oh, suck it. Ruin the end of the story for you, Wizards. I could see someone doing that. And Wizards is very loose with who they send these cards to like 2 weeks in advance. So good job all around, everybody. So anyway, Mr. Krabs here is 5-cost instant. It deals 5 damage to target player or planeswalker, which is unplayable garbage. This is just a slightly differently worded lava axe. Oh boy. But you can clone this like 8 fucking times. Hooray! Is it? And their broken bullshit gets another card. Fuck my life. So next up, we got probably a leak, not a spoiler, whatever, who cares, of Thunder Drake. And you guys know I don't read these ahead of time, and I haven't actually read this yet. So there's one thing I will tell you right fucking now, and that's if this is another Crackling Drake, I'm going to smash my whole fucking desk into 2 pieces with an axe. So flying 2/3, when you cast your second spell each turn, put a 1/1 counter on Thunder Drake. You know what? Close enough. Fuck it. Get out the axe. You know what? I don't own an axe because I'm poor, and why would I? I don't even have a tree on my property. Like, you can like bring out a Crackling Drake that's like a 15 attack and then granted haste with another spell, which also happens to boost it even further. This thing, you're looking at like turns with an S before it becomes a threat. But it's still an obnoxious backup, so I don't know. I feel like they should have made it like a 1/5. And then also in that scenario, then not printed it at all because that would have been broken garbage, and Is It Drakes has enough fucking cards already. So next up, Trusted Pegasus. It's a 2/2 for 3. It's flying, and whenever Trusted Pegasus attacks target attacking creature without flying, gains flying until end of turn. That's gotta be either a functional reprint or a direct reprint. Pretty much every Pegasus in the history of the game has done this, so whoop-de-doo. Very annoying in draft, by the way, though. This thing is powerful. Next up, Tyrant Score. And hey, remember when Gideon in that like last chance spell or whatever, he jumped and it was just like a glorified Mighty Leap spell, but like better. And then he jumps at Nicol Bolas's face instead of coming at him from behind like he should have with the Black Blade. Here's how that went. Black Blade's in pieces and Gideon is falling. Thank God without a parachute. We already know he dies and goes to Theros. Alrighty then, so what does the spell do? Instant, Dimir colors, choose 1, destroy target creature with converted mana cost 3 or less. Okay, limited, unreliable kill spell. And return target creature to its owner's hand. So, 2-cost instant bounce, not bad, but it's pretty color locked. And a kill spell that isn't guaranteed to destroy anything important. Wow. That's what took down Gideon? Whatever, Nala has more wisdom, foresight, and planning abilities than Gideon, and not to mention battle tactics, and she's a golden retriever. So Gideon had it coming. Next up, we got Ugin, but he was already leaked, so fuck it. So we got Ugins Conjurant. Oh god, it's just Endless One, isn't it? It's X00. It enters battlefield with X11 counters on it. Yep, it is just Endless One. If damage would be dealt to Ugins Conjurant while it has a 1/1 counter on it, prevent that damage, remove that many 1/1 counters from Ugins Conjurant. Holy shit! This is Undergrowth Champion mixed with Endless One, both of which were amongst the most powerful spells in Standard at the time. Okay, now 2 points about this card. The first is Undergrowth Champion was that card that had landfall at a counter, and then every time it took any amount of damage, you removed 1 counter from it. I think at one point that card cleared $20. It was the #1 most powerful landfall card in the set by a huge margin. So this one, instead of if it takes 10 damage, remove 1 counter, if it takes 10 damage, remove 10 counters. So it's way easier to kill, like way easier. But point number 2, people played Endless One and it was just the top half of this card. Endless One was extremely popular. It was early game, mid game, late game. It was like the perfect creature. So you take Endless One and make it even more difficult to destroy. And remember, any color can play this. This could go into some decks, for real. And I mean, yeah, it's not indestructible, it's not hexproof, but like, if it's playing green, you could grant it hexproof. If you're playing blue, you could counter whatever it is targeting it. Playing white, grant it indestructible. And then there's a ton of stuff that says like, whenever a creature has counters added to it, or for every counter on a creature, or if you control another creature with counters, which this would just automatically qualify. So there's a lot of synergy, a lot of interaction, and on top of all of that and its resistance to getting killed in combat, and non-combat damage too, by the way, that's all in addition to the fact that this already just is Endless One. So this is going to be popular. And it's like really borderline pushing it. I mean, the thing that really shocks me about this is like, if this was a mythic or rare, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I get it. Or if they made it like 1 generic plus X generic. You know, just offset it by 1, or say, you know, that many counters -1 or whatever are added to it. Then I would have been like, okay, they pumped the brakes a little bit. But right now it's like, oh, you got 10 mana, which like a ton of decks can do. You just drop this in, a 10/10, and you got to hit it a bunch of times to keep chopping it down. Unless you've got a kill spell. Like, that's really pushing it. But there are way more broken spells than this in War of the Spark. Way worse. But hey, to say that this is a first pick and quite possibly the most draftable card in the set, oh, hands down, yes. Oh my gosh, colorless, you kidding me? And finally, the last card in this absolute shit hurricane that they call spoilers, Wall of Ruins. It's a 0/4 wall that costs 1 with Defender, and you scry 1 when it enters the battlefield. That's what we needed. I wonder if somebody will try to flip its power, or not, you know, not literally flip it, but you know what I mean. You know, it goes in the Oops All Walls deck where you turn the walls into attackers, and yeah. And scry 1 for consistency. Wonderful. I can't wait to play this. So anyway, what do you think of the spoilers from today? If you think literally anything other than holy shit standard is going to be an unplayable shit fest that'll make modern look slow and low powered by comparison, then you're wrong. And I'm really looking forward to nightmares involving Ugins Conjurant, and every time I'm awake and close my eyes for a split second, I see her. And by the way, I think we're going to see a new record for the most expensive uncommon ever printed in the history of the game. It depends though, because it's really hard to say how this would slot into like other format decks. Which, I mean, it's colorless, so it could be any of them. Really, really, really hard to say. Like, I'd love to say, oh, this would just go right into Jund, but like, would it? Oh boy. Well, I'll see you guys next video. I think there's a couple spoilers left. This might be the last of them. I think there's like 8 left, but they might just be like lands or some shit. I don't even give a fuck at this point. Fuck this whole set. I'll see you guys next video.